You're not sure? Okay, cool. Alright, let's take a look. What rank did you say you were? Was it like silver? I know this is a quick way, but silver? Okay.
Hello.
Low silver? Alright.
Five, four, three, two, one. No short. Ich bin da. My shield's up.
Alright. So first things first, on Koth in particular, it's really important that you get as far out onto the map as you can, um, as fast as you can, right? So it's kind of rough that you actually stopped here for a second to look at where your team is going. Because it doesn't matter what your team wants to do. Where you go is where the team should follow, right? And obviously you should turn around and make sure they're following you for a second, right? Just check to see if they're following you. If they're not following you, then you like figure out if like you can keep doing what you're doing or whether or not you need to adapt to what they're doing, right? But generally speaking, people follow the Reinhardt, like bots. Like they straight up don't think for themselves, right? So first of all, don't look at your team to figure out where they want to go. Figure out where you want to go first, right? Go that way and see if they follow you, right? And then second is generally speaking, this is the best part of the map. If you're playing any kind of Rein comp, just generally. Um, so it's really important you get to here as fast as you can. Because what happens sometimes if you take too long, right, is if you try to come up this hallway and there are Junkrats already here shooting, like you're done. You're not getting out of the choke, right? It's so much harder at that point. Um, so your team's already forfeited the high ground. That's not totally an unreasonable idea. Um, but just keep in mind that like, um, especially for relatively simple maps, this is what I consider a simple map. There's only 3 spot fights ever happen, like here, right? Here and here, right? So especially with these simple maps, you need to know like what the basic power positions are, right? So for Lijiang, and for control center, that's this spot right here. White. We call this white room. Pretty much everyone does. White room, whatever you want. And then this is either Jark or tech or IT, whatever you want to call it. But number one thing is know your power positions, right? Um, and yeah, just be decisive with your pathing. This is fine, right? Just keep in mind that like this is normally where you want to go. There are times where you don't want to go this way, but yeah. Yeah, do you see how like you want to walk up there, but you can't? You don't feel confident enough to, and this hog is now just flanking on your backline, right? This is pure. This is almost 100% because like you didn't take white room, right? He just walked over here, saw that you guys were here, and just kept walking, right? And you can't do anything about it. So you look now, you're starting to get outflanked, right? It's very hard for you to do this because your solutions as Rein when you're getting outflanked is either to push the flanker, right? And that involves pushing up these stairs into like 2 stuns from different that are off-angling you, right? Which this requires usually like team help to do, right? And the less team help team help you need at low ranks, the better, right? Or shoving face really hard and trying to kill them in the front, right? And that can be hard, especially without Lucio or just like speed boost in general, or like it's like you see how like you're slowly trying to force this and nothing happens and this hog kills your team, right? Teammate, right? This is like again white room control. And also, really, really important. This is you push Diana here. I mean, this looks like you're pushing everyone else except Diana. But most important thing to so okay, so I talked about how like you need to be decisive. You need to take power positions as much as possible, right? Later, okay. And the third thing is that uh, in a lot of cases, not always, but in a lot of cases, that shield is not for your team. When you're trying to push a position, that shield is to get you to that position so that the way you can swing on them, right? And then once you're able to swing on them, you get some hits, you force them out, right? You force them back, right? It's very hard to fight a Rein at close quarters. Once that happens, and maybe you take some damage, right? Then you either use hard cover depending if it's safe, you like regain your health and your shield, or you reshield in order to like regain your health and then like to stay in the corner a bit longer, right? Um, so it's like this whole time you've been very slowly walking up and shielding, right? And that's not what you want to do. You want to literally just walk into this guy, especially when you know hook's down because you got to kill with it. Just walk into him, hit him as much as you can, force him back, right? And then sit on this corner and try not to take damage, right? Just like hide here or hide here, right? And you want to use all your HP and shield to get to these positions, this one or this one, after forcing this hog out, right? So you don't want the hog sitting here as you're hiding here, obviously, right? You want to force him, you want to walk at him, force him out, right? Hit him, and then once you force them out, right, you either camp behind this wall where you're safe, right, or behind this wall where you're safe, right? And if like and never stop swinging, right? If they push into you, they have to eat a right hammer first, right, before they can actually shoot you. Right hammer does 85 damage. It's so much damage. But like you see how like you not only are you not pathing directly at the hog, you're also walking away from your only covers, right? Here or here as we talked about, and you also haven't swung once, right? That's what I want to emphasize, right? Be decisive with where you go. Walk towards corners and walk towards enemy heroes to kick them out of corners, right? Yeah, so do you see this? This is bad, right? All this like walking back and forth right here and in the middle open, right? You want to either walk straight at this or straight at this, right? And then you hide and then occasionally peek to see what they're doing. Yeah, so likewise, right? You get point, right? You did a good job kicking them out of White Room. So you identified that White Room was a problem. So you walked up there, you kicked them out, and then you just go right back to point, and you slid all the way to the left side so you couldn't even help your team on White Room, right? And then immediately the Sig just walks in and he takes White Room, right? So your Junkrat's doing an okay job, your Roadhog's trying, right? So your team is thinking about it, and the Sigma's also like he's walked way too far out and isn't getting help, right? Again, prioritize White Room first, right? Point is secondary. Let's block. Again, do you see how I've just spent all this time? Like, you had to make a big read on the hog because like you were trying to save shield, but you also didn't want to get hooked, so you had to like sort of like flash a shield a couple times in order to like figure out when he was going to hook and then block it, right? So that's cool and all, but like if you're just sitting here, you wouldn't have to do that, right? If you're just behind cover, right? You don't have to worry about the hook and you can save shield, right? But you spend a lot of time just sitting in the open, right? It's easy to think about cover as like for squishies and as tanks you don't really need it, but like it's actually almost doubly important for tanks because you only have so much stuff and everybody's trying to shoot you and you have a big hitbox, right? Yeah, it's like yeah. Just generally you spend a lot of time just like not walking at things. Ryan's very sad when he can't walk at things. And I just want to emphasize that you like let's just look at the numbers. You have 1600 shield. McCree does 70 damage a shot. Unless he flashes you. It takes him something like, I don't know. Let's see. 23 shots to break your shield, right? And if you get to any, that's four magazines, right? That's four clips for him. If it takes him four magazines to break your shield, you can literally get to any kind of cover, and then he literally can't push you anymore, right? And if like, um, you get healing, you can afford to take some damage on your health pool as well, right? Um, and like you're just not afraid of him, right? So if you see a McCree and you don't like where he's standing, you can just like walk at him, right? You just walk at him as soon as he starts shooting you. You put your shield up, right, and just keep walking until you get to a cover where you just block him out and also have cover, right? So that can be like here, that can be here, that can be at this door. That's a little extreme, but um, like don't let people have a game, right? If they try to take your space, you just kick them out, right? And then you hold down the. Generally speaking, you want to identify what the important spot is, but if you're not sure what it is, just like find where they're standing and kick them out. That's good pressure, right? But notice like you don't actually want to go into here because your team's not really doing anything, right? Like there's no pincer coming from this side, so they're just going to back down this corridor and you're going to eat a million damage. So it's good to push here, right? But once you've done your job, right, sit tight in your corner, right? This is your home. You don't want to leave your home, right? We're all working from home now, right? So you gotta like I don't know, get your setup in place and then you're done, right? And that prevents things like this happening, which is like almost guaranteed to kill your brig now, right? Okay. Pin was probably not the play. Yeah. And again, where's your happy place, right? This is your happy place. This is your home, right? Don't leave your home. I mean, he killed your brig though, so like maybe, but he killed your brig. You don't like that, right? Brig helps you hold this corner, right? So the thing is like, again, don't panic, right? When you're losing control, sit here at this corner, right? Make it hard to push you, right? And if you get more pressured, you drop down on this corner, right? And then you either double back around with like charge or shatter, or you just back up towards point and hide behind this pillar, right? Again, cover to cover. That's how you got to think. Cover to cover. Can't. There should be almost no time spent in the open unless you're moving from place to place. Yeah. Do you see how like you're just spending a lot of time just like not sure what to do? Like I'm not sure how much damage you have, but like it's very very little. Yeah, cover equals good for sure. And like a lot of that just comes down to the fact that you're not really holding down positions. Like you can sort of just like generically hold shield for your team. And then like when the fight breaks down, you don't know who to push, right? And when a fight breaks down like this, your team's losing by a lot. Realistically, you can actually go as aggressive as you want. It doesn't matter because your team probably is going to lose. So there are two strats you can do. One is to buy as much time as you can just by being really defensive and like forcing them to chase you and do really awkward stuff. And the other is go ham and try to get return kills, right? Either option's totally okay, right? Um, Obviously, stalling is better when you have point, and going aggressive is better when you don't have point. Um, but like it's there's a lot of reasons why that could be true or not true, right? Or that could be more or less true depending on the situation. Um, but yeah. So from a beginning of the fight standpoint, right? Prioritize this stuff, and like the middle of the fight, just literally walk at someone. uh, just find someone to hit. Maybe not the hog, but oh, hey, yeah. So like I would just like honestly just pin out over here, reset the fight, right? Your team's coming back with numbers, and then just like walk back in and hide behind this pillar again, right? Like you're already eating like double ulties, and you're kind of surrounded, so just like pin out. If you get someone, that's great, but like you don't really have to. You're just trying to live. Yeah. Better her. Like not even kidding though. Like that's worth the shatter. All right. So I know you want healing, right? But you have a full shield. We just talked about how long it takes a McCree to break a full shield, right? So as long as you're not being outflanked, right? So as long as you're not walking into like a big concave, so there's not like a guy over here and a guy over here as you're trying to walk in. And there's nothing wrong with just standing here, holding shield, and seeing if you can maybe help your hog, right? Because like your healing is going to come eventually, right? It's not as backing up a couple steps won't really change it, right? And as long as you have the shield to sustain yourself, you can just be around, right? And you have full shield. Yes, full shield. Yeah, you're being very scared. And there's nothing wrong with being scared, but like you can be scared while also trying to help your teammates, right? Because like your hog was fighting people on point, right? And like as long as you don't drop your shield, there's actually almost no risk of you ever dying here, right? You have 120 HP. Oh, this person does like this person takes literally 2.5 seconds to kill you, right? This person takes like 2 shots to kill you. And again, like she's also not going to get behind you ever, right? So you can just hold your shield and she can't shoot you, period, right? And as long as your team's fighting for white control, you're not going to get flanked from behind either. So you can just stand here and chill, right? Do the good old shield shuffle, back and forth, and see if your hog needs help, right? Like blocking a sleep on your Rein would be like huge clutch. Blocking this nade as well, or did I say Rein? I meant hog. Blocking this nade as well would be big. I know she's missing it anyways, but you get the idea. You actually almost died to the orb because you were so focused on backing up. That's actually kind of funny. She won the fight though, which is good. Hey, she got rolled. Big shatter. I admire your discipline to not pin that. I would have, and probably would have died. Yeah, and again, this is why solo shattering is totally okay, by the way. Like, you literally just use shatter, you're at 42% again, right? You literally just used it. So, shattering people, individual people, as long as they're a high value kill, is like totally worth. Ana is like almost as high value as it gets. Okay, don't extend past the choke again, right? Know your happy place. This is your happy place. This is also your happy place. Pick one side, right? This side's a little bit better because you can back up to this spot, right? And you still have a happy place. Charge shatter bad. Yes. A lot of the time it is bad. That said, there was like a squishy back here or something that was like that was looking real juicy to pin. But yeah. Generally speaking, a lot of times you can just do more damage by hitting people. So, but yeah. Again, learn your happy places, right? Corners. This is strong. This is strong. This is even usually better because it can back up to this spot, which is also strong, right? And then back up this corridor is usually death, but that's a different story. But like between these three spots, you have enough spots to pick from that you can sort of do whatever you want in the choke. But extending past the choke is really dangerous, and this needs to be part of a coordinated effort, right? This should only go on when like I don't know, you're playing with like a team with speed and coal, and you just run out with speed and coal and just try to kill people like to get staggers, right? Or if you have shatter or something, you like push out in order to get like force a big shatter or something when the Rhine's not expecting it, or like when the Rhine's dead still, right? Say there's a bunch of squishies all lined up outside the choke, and you just like really push out and then line up a shatter, right? There's stuff you can do, but yeah, don't just walk out for no reason. Oh, it's because point was bad cap. I guess it's okay. Not the best though, because if they get behind you and actually touch point, then you're in a very awkward position, but worked out. Guess what the power positions on this map are? So assuming both teams are going to go bridge. Yep. Okay, so bridge wall is really strong, both for both teams. Point pillar. Yeah, this one's more relevant when teams split. So one team goes white room, the other goes bridge. Um, so one team goes white, one team goes bridge. This pillar becomes really important, right? Um, but yeah. So that this is like the PowerPoint position, I guess, for that alignment. So that's true. Yes, this spot is also very important because it's just very centrally located, and if both teams go bridge, realistically the bridge wall is very hard to get to, right? So unless you're way faster than them, like you roll out the Sim TP and a Lucio, which you do actually have, uh, it's very hard to get here before the enemy team gets to the bridge, right? Um, if you get here, you win. You straight up, you win. But most of the time, this is the end of spot you end up fighting over, and depending on your comp, this spot also becomes very important just because like you can advance the side of the map with cover, right? Yeah, like just generally, like again, it it's not very difficult. You just like Overwatch maps are pretty simple, right? Like, where's the cover? Here's the cover. Here's the cover. Here's the cover. Here's the cover. Gee, I wonder what the important parts are, right? Ooh. Oh my God, they're gonna let you to the bridge. You actually got there. Again, don't get distracted by this. It's really, really important that you stand here and you don't let these guys cross. Your team will handle the Genji, right? Unless this guy is literally the best Smurf in the world, he's not gonna like 1v5 your team. Yeah, I wonder why I took little months to learn that by high typo cover usage. I mean, cover usage is hard, right? It just takes a lot of discipline and a lot of awareness. Um, and but yeah, from a conceptual standpoint, it's not very complicated, right? Like this is cover. Cover is good. Wow. Again, using it is harder, right? But conceptually, not very difficult. Yeah. Again, don't get distracted with the Genji. Your job is to hold positions, right? This is a position. You sit here. Um, yeah, but you sit here and you just swing your hammer and you don't let anyone cross, right? That's all you care about, right? Because your team, it doesn't matter how good this Genji is, he's not gonna 1v5. Your team will eventually kill him or force him out, right? And he leaves, right? And again, you hold the bridge. They have to do something. They have no main tank. As long as you don't get cliff hooked, there's actually no way to lose this. Again, I tell you, like I said, once if you get to this spot and they let you, you win straight up. Yeah. So yeah, this Roadhog just literally walked across because you weren't there to like really like um send a message. Like you got there kind of in time, but your team like was turning around like was helping you deal with the Genji instead of like you just presenting like threat here and then yeah, get the idea. And again, you can only do one or two things in this situation, right? Either have your teammates push this guy out, which they're trying, which is good. In which case you play a bit slow, or you run it down main and kill these guys first. Alternatively, you can charge this guy and try not to charge off the map. But that's a bit extreme. You can also run at them if you don't think the honest confident. But hey, he has to leave. All right. Again, don't extend too far past your happy place because that's how you die, right? You don't need to go this far. You just need to hit him. Like that last hit was probably one too many, right? You just hit them that once and then back up around your corner and play and just chill. Again, if nothing happens, who does this favor, right? If nothing were to occur in the next 20 seconds, who's at advantage? You, yeah. Your team is point, right? You just chill. But if you die, suddenly now they can gain access to the bridge, right? You see how big of a problem it is for them to cross the bridge if all you do is sit here? I mean, Rein is the team. Let's be real. No, um, but yeah. Like, you see how difficult it is for them to do anything if you just cap this wall, right? It's miserable. They literally can't do a thing. But if you get hooked, or like you get slept, right? Again, really risky throwing this fire strike at like close range with no cover, right? Instead of just like peeking at the end of your fire strike animation, just like throwing the fire strike around the wall and backing up, right? It's just so much more risky. If you get hooked, if you get slept, you can straight up die because it has this. Just generally speaking, Ana has a lot of really scary buttons for you, right? She has sleep, she has nade, right? Any one of them can just straight up kill you if you're not well positioned. Oh my god, you're so brave. It works out though, I think. All right, again, quick question. Do you know how much shield you had when you died? Not again, I guess, but you know, that's not it. No? What's your guess? Uh, let's go with all of it. All right. So another question: do you know how much damage Moira does? Like damage per second? Don't worry about it. It's not. This isn't really a knowledge test. It's like 50. Um, it's not a whole lot. But the point is, 50 damage per second, 1600 shield. The math does not work this Moira's favor. If all you do is hold shield and back up, right? You know she has no fade too. She just used it to run away. Once you get this kill, right? You're 90 HP, which is 2 seconds worth of Moira beam, right? There's people behind you, but you really don't care about them. Your team's cleaning house, right? You got a massive shatter. You already carried the fight, right? Now you just need to not die, right? You just put your shield up and slowly walk backwards. Like, why are you walking forward and throwing your fire strike? You know? Yeah, you're naded. You literally can't be helped right now, right? But if you just wait until your shield wears off or your the anti-nade debuff wears off, right? Be healed, and there's actually no way for this Moira to out DPS your heal, right? Statistically, according to the numbers, there's no way for this Moira to out damage your heal. So you just need to wait, right? You don't need to walk forward. You don't need to. I mean, you can walk forward if you want to. It's kind of overkill. Like realistically, like once you get this big advantage, you just need to clean up the backside of your fight, right? Um, and gaining on a Moira is kind of hard. Yeah. But like more to the point, like there's actually no reason to die here, right? Just put up your shield, right? You like threw a fire strike and died for it, you know. There's like a solid chance this kills your Mercy now. Can we take a 5 minute break? Sure. Let me know when you're back. Yeah, no worries. gonna get there eventually. Nice. All right. So I want to emphasize that like um you didn't need to die there. And the fact that Mercy has to res you here is like there's a solid chance it kills her. All right, nice. She lived. All right. I don't know what that Genji's doing, but again, think about like positions, right? Yes. Okay. So first of all, this spot's probably too aggressive. The bridge is so strong. There's no reason. There's no not really a reason to be here. But that said, right? If you're going to hold this spot, where should you be? If you're going to hold this part, if you're going to hold like in front of this choke, or if you're going to hold this choke to the wall, right? You should be up against the wall, right? Either here or here if you're feeling very like daring. um, and like maybe behind the rock, right? This rock's kind of risky with like the cliff behind it, but um, yeah, like don't stand here and shield. Like if you're gonna hold this close, literally like be up against the wall, right? Be hard to shoot. Now look, see, you get to this wall, they try to push you and you just hit them back, right? This guy is miserable. He sees the Rein just walking at him and he's like, what do I do? Right, again, don't. Okay. Oh my god, you're throwing a fire strike too. So second swing is fine. Fire strike is also okay if you're behind the wall and trying to snipe the echo, right? But do you see the difference between this fire strike and this fire strike? This is if you get hooked. I mean, they actually have Lucio Moira now, which doesn't actually do a lot to you, so there's a reasonable chance you live. But like, I would not want to be here. He doesn't hook. Please tell me it was on cooldown. I don't think it was on cooldown. I'm pretty sure you just like had the reactions of a snail. It's the reactions of a snail. God dang. All right. Well, anyways, you get what I'm talking about, though, right? Like, you're gonna throw a fire strike, throw it from behind the wall, right? Like barely peek if you want to snipe the echo, snipe the echo. If you want to barely peek and throw it at the hog, throw it at the hog, right? But don't walk past the wall and throw a fire strike. And to be honest, you just should not walk past the wall. Again, you just lost like. Actually, let's do the quick math on that. So at this point, you're 1200 shield. It takes you like literally under a second to get behind this wall and drop your shield, right? Let's see how much shield you lose before you actually do that. Okay, so you lost 600 shield. Just because you didn't walk around the corner fast enough, right? And now the hog's in a position where he can actually like shoot you, right? And you're kind of sad because you don't actually have a lot of shields to stay in this position for longer. So a good idea would be to throw at the end of the animation. Yeah, just like sit behind the wall and then peek as you're throwing the fire strike, right? It's kind of awkward. It might feel awkward, especially because doing this a lot of people have like uh or not a lot of people, but like the standard bind for fire strike is E, right? So the problem with this is a lot of people can't press D and E at the same time, right? Um, to like move right and throw a fire strike. Which it can be hard. Either you press E and then like go to and like put yourself in this like you either have to space it so that you're standing here and then press E and then like let go of E and press D as like you get to that point in the animation, which can be difficult, or you like press D and move your like was it the middle finger over to E from W as you do this, right? And then go back, right? Um, there's a bunch of ways you can do it, but I know that it can be kind of uncomfortable doing this to the right for a lot of people. Yeah, okay, yeah. As long as you're comfortable doing this, like just like whatever is comfortable and makes sense for you, just make sure you're consistently doing it though. That's the most important part. All right. Any guesses on what the main issue was in that situation? What do you think was wrong with that play? You think something was wrong. Actually, I mean, like, there's no way that, like, I think at this point I've given away that there's something wrong here. But when in doubt, wall. Yes. So what about the wall? We're not behind it, right? Also, what were you doing 3 seconds ago that caused all your HP? That caused all your HP to go down. Well, the fire strike is happening now, right? So this fire strike probably cost you like 100 HP, but you had 500 HP a few seconds ago. Let's watch that one more time. Oh, you even died for it. Wow. Got your mercy killed too. Being shot. Why were you being shot? Yeah, I mean, you didn't really push past it, but you stood in the choke, right? Which is more or less the same thing, right? You just stood in it and you swung your hammer, right? And you never even tried to put your shield back up, right? And as you were dying, you threw a fire strike and died. But like again, right? If you just sit here, what are they gonna do, right? Maybe you're feeling uncomfortable here. You like walk to your left, right? You maybe get like a swing into, then you put up your shield, duck behind the wall, right? And then back up again, right? Yeah, you just stood in the choke and took 200 damage at least, probably more. So here you are. So this swing's okay, right? One more swing is like kind of pushing it, but it's totally fine. Again, but like if you're going to take the second swing, you need to put your shield up because you're about to eat a billion damage, right? So again, you took 150 damage for the second swing, right? Totally reasonable. It was about 100 actually because you took 50 beforehand, right? So again, if you don't put your shield up now, what's going to happen, right? Is like everyone's locked onto you now because you've been swinging for 2 seconds now because that's how long each swing is roughly, right? So if you don't put your shield up now and immediately get behind a wall, you're going to die or take a lot of damage. And again, not again, but like your team actually doesn't like have a lot of healing, right? This is not an Ana, this is not a Moira, and Moira isn't even honestly the highest single target healing, like right? Like this, it's not a BAP either. Although BAPs at your rank are like not very competent. Um, sorry, what? Neither being good. But like these heroes are just like they're low output healers, right? They have other things they prioritize, like Mercy has damage boost, Lucio has speed, right? But they're not high output healers, right? Which means that you cannot actually take a lot of damage on your trades. Right? You need to be very efficient on your trades and just focus on holding down space. Yeah, taking damage and dying are both bad. um, so again, like this, the first swing totally fine. Second swing, pushing it, right? But like you can afford to trade some HP because it's mostly armor at this point, right? This third swing will absolutely like murder you, right? Good teams will just like walk you down after this, even if like you didn't, even if you put your shield after this. And again, your third swing, first of all, didn't connect, and second of all, cost you 300 HP, right? And it's like predictable, right? The first swing, totally fine. Second swing, they're starting to look at you more. Third swing, like if you keep swinging, you're gonna die, right? And like I'm not going to tell you to go for like a two swing rule because like it's not really how Overwatch works. But you need to think of like attention as like damage, right? So the more people look at you, the more you take damage, right? And the longer they're looking at you, the more damage you'll take. And it ramps up, right? So if like they're not looking at you, right? So for example, if you're like I don't know, you're just sitting here, right? And they're all like walking past you and no one's looking at you for some reason, they're all just trying to get to the pagoda or something. You can get as many swings as you want. I don't care, right? But if they're all staring you down, right, you only get so many swings before you have to put up your shield, right? And you need to develop a feeling for this, right? Because this is like, if you want to consistently climb rank, this can't happen, right? Because I mean, like, this is like essentially a freebie you gave them, right? Like, there was no reason to die here, and you still died, right? And you get your mercy killed, and she also doesn't have res because she used it earlier on your previous death, right? It all adds up. All right, again, so this is where Reinhardt gets hard because it's no longer clear cut on what you need to do, right? So you got into the map, right? But like, where do you hold, right? And there's not really an answer, right? So pushing the Echo, totally fine, right? You kick her out, right? And then what do you do after that, right? And there's not an easy answer to this. But the short answer is that you need to find some kind of cover, right, to walk towards. If there's someone in your way, all even better, right? If there's someone in your way that you can get to, like for example, if you want to be like, I want to be here, I want to be somewhere on point because point has a lot of cover, right? You can be like, okay, I'm out here. How do I get to point? And it's like, okay, I'm gonna charge the point. Look at all these people in the way of my charge who I might accidentally hit and kill, right? This is like how good Rein play generally ends up working, right? It's like, um, you sort of have a goal in mind, and then everything sort of just like falls into place around it, right? So you want to get out of the open, right? So you kick the Echo out from her off angle, right? And then she used her fly, so now she's like a lot less involved in this fight, and she's a lot harder time shooting anyone except you, right? So now you just want to get out of here, right? So you can do whatever it takes to get out of here, but you also want to get towards point because point is like your team's losing point right now, so you kind of want to be towards point, and then also you don't want to be in the open, and point has a lot of cover, especially against an Echo who's stuck up here, right? So, right, pretty natural solution is I'm just going to pin towards point. What are they going to do about it, right? And again, attention, right? The fight was very chaotic when you came in, right? Nobody looked as you got here. You got to here, nobody's still but nobody's looking at you. And now they're starting to look at you, right? So maybe the pin is risky in that regard, right? But again, like this is like you're only getting to the point where this is like your first maybe second swing in terms of the scenarios last time, in terms of like attention, right? Because they have a lot of other stuff to look at. They have a lot of other eye candy, right? The previous fight, they had nothing else to look at except you, right? They were just looking at the choke and you're swinging in it, right? Here, right? Lucio's not looking at you. Mori's not looking at you. Genji's not looking at you. Roadhog's kind of looking at you. I think he's looking at a turret. I don't know what he's looking at, but anyways, he's kind of looking at you. D.Va's looking at you, and Echo's looking at you, right? But like, you're not super scared of this, so just like go ahead, pin, right? Get onto point, and some. I mean, you can also just hold shield and like walk towards point. I wouldn't be mad, right? Just get towards point somehow because there's cover, right? That's what you care about. All right, so this is also cover, right? This is a big fat shield that's cover. So you can just stand on the shield and go back and forth depending which side they walk at, right? You can become monkey for a second, right? So if the D.Va's on this side, you hit this guy here, right? You just stand here and hit him, or her. And if the Echo's shooting you, you just back up over here. So again, tension. Like, look who's actually shooting you, right? If the Echo's shooting you, you just go over here and you hit the D.Va from here, right? Or the Moira, or the Lucio. Like, this is what you want, right? Like squishies and hammer range. Like, oh my god, that's the dream. This is a decent shatter. Nice. Ah! I see you're not consistent about following Yeet to memes advice. Sag. All you had to do was swing twice, and both these squishies are dead. So for reference, Rein combo does like, each swing does 85, right? If you have Fire Strike, you can do 185 instead of 170. 170 being two swings. So 170 plus 50 for the charge, not the charge, the shatter is 220, right? So there is a world in which this Lucio actually heals them up and they live. But if you land a Fire Strike, like you swing Fire Strike these two, and after shatter they just die, right? And again, so this is again the opposite mentality, right? If you shatter a tank, right? Charge becomes better because it's a lot of burst, it's a lot of front-loaded burst damage on a single target, right? But if you hit squishies, and they're close to you, especially, but just generally, if you hit squishies, you should just hit them, right? Like they're gonna die. You get what I mean? Like you can kill more people if you don't pin, you know? But if you shatter here and you get like the hog and the D.Va, right? That's totally fine to pin, right? Especially the D.Va. Um, but like you got all four of them, right? So just walk in, get two hammer swings on everybody, just do the goal spin around, or like fire strike as you're walking forward into a big hammer swing on all four, right? That's like what is that? 200, 340. That's 540 damage in 2 seconds. I think I got only D.Va. Is that what you thought in game? Like you thought? Wait, what do you mean? Oh, okay, never mind. Yeah, I guess you missed the hog. I forgot. Yeah, okay, you didn't get the hog. The point still stands, right? Like just walk in and hit him. Throw a Fire Strike, walk in, hit these two squishies, they 100% die. There's actually no world in which they live unless the Lucio got amp buff first, which is very unlikely. Um, and yeah, like if you, this is the dream, right? You want to hit these people. Again, quick test. Do you know how much shield you had when you died? Full shield. Yep. I understand like the panic and like being like overwhelmed by what's going on around you, right? But once you get this last swing on the Genji and you miss him, right? Just like take a step back and shield just to like again attention, right? How long has everyone been looking at you, right? It's been like a solid like so again. You see how like this happens though, right? You were 350 HP right now, right? In another second, you just go 100 to 0. Like you just straight up just die, right? Even with the Mercy pocket, Mercy Valk pocket, so even more healing per second, right? Right. And when people complain they get blown up on tank, it's because they're not paying attention to what the enemy team is looking at, right? Like right here, you're like you charge, they're in disarray, right? And then you pin, right? Whenever you pin, people are going to look at you more, right? And then you swung twice, right? And then you realize that everybody is looking at you, literally their entire team, right? Minus the Echo, who's off in Africa, right? Yeah, right. So you just need to chill, right? Chill until they find something else to look at, or until like you get like more health, right? So you can tank a little bit more damage. Armor again is really important. Um, or for your cooldowns to come up, right? Like there's a bunch of stuff you can do, right? Um, but generally speaking, you just don't want to be easy to kill. That's the most important part, right? So like right here, you have 350 HP, you have full shield, right? You're gonna walk forward and die in under 2 seconds, right? Right? You took 200 damage and then tried to throw a fire strike. Actually 300. You were at like 50 health bill already, and it was literally under 2 seconds, right? You see how that works? Like it's about attention, right? It's if they're actually looking at you and trying to shoot you. So if they're trying to kill you, right, just put your shield up and walk away, right? just back up in this direction. And then if they're dumb, they'll walk out and your Lucio will get like a 3K and it'll like you know say how he carried the game at the end of the game. But that's not what's important, right? What's important is winning, right? So you walk this way, you shield, right? And then it becomes harder and harder for them to actually hit you, right? And now what is this, right? This is cover, right? This is cover. And now you can just hold your hammer on this corner. And what are they going to do about it, right? Now it's the same thing as the bridge earlier, except now they have points, so it's a little less clear, right? But you're hard to push now, right? You're hard to push. You can regain your resources and reestablish control. And now your hog's coming in from the back, you're coming in from the front. Like, what do they do, right? It becomes more difficult for them, right? But again, use your shield to get from place to place, right? It's for you, right? Yes, that about sums it up. Oh my god, how did you not get hooked? Okay, I mean, I guess you kind of got to cover in time. See, this is the Rein dream, right? Like, you just kind of walked in, and then once the fight turns into a brawl, you just find somebody to walk at, and you walk at them, right? And you don't care. You just hold W and M1, right? Like, in these situations, there's a lot of ways to optimize this, right? But it kind of doesn't matter. You've already got the fight you want as a Reinhardt, so. Like, this pin kind of sucks. It doesn't matter, right? Maybe if you make enough mistakes, they'll add up, right? And as you get higher and higher ranks, it becomes more and more important, right? To not make these mistakes, right? But like for your Elo, you just need to do the big picture stuff right, and then the games will sort of just fall into place. And I'm not saying like your Elo as in like up to like maybe a gold will stop working. I'm saying like all of it. This will keep working all the way up to like diamond. Um, um, like things are fundamentally good at Overwatch are always going to be fundamentally good. Um, and then Masters is a bit more wishy-washy depending on like how clean you are at like certain things. But yeah, like you can get to diamond very easily on Rein just on off of raw fundamentals. If you're really, really good at fundamentals, but really, really bad at micro, as long as you're good enough at the fundamentals, you'll still get GM. GM is not actually that hard. It's just that most people are really bad at this game. Yeah, I mean, for sure. Like, you're in silver, right? I'm just letting you know that, like, this is how important fundamentals are, right? Like, it kind of doesn't matter that you barely hit anyone in this fight, right? You were walking at people in a fight that you created, right? That's all that matters. Oh my god, take the shatter. It's a dream. Yes! The spin's acceptable. Alright, maybe not. You kind of had to do it a little bit earlier when they're a bit closer to you. Because again, the shatter has range, but your hammer doesn't, right? So, like, as soon as you got that shatter, you wanted to line up that Moira and the hog, right? And then that's when you should go for it, right? So the problem is your shatter was like a little bit late, and you like jumped away from them before you shattered. So this is micro now, but like again, the concept of shattering was good. So, like right here, right, the hog is going to your left, right, and he has vape going on, right? So you want to shatter him because like you'll cancel his vape. You also want to shatter these guys, right? So the easiest way to line it up is jump to his left, right, or sorry, your left and his right, right. Go behind him, and this warrior is walking forward trying to heal the hog. So this is a freebie, right? So you get a big shatter here, right, and then you walk forward, fire strike, swing, these guys die, right, and then you turn around and you can charge the if you have time, maybe you can charge the hog and kill him too, right, and you get all 3 kills for yourself and look good on the kill feed. But like you take way too long to do this, and look how far away you are when you shatter, right? You're very lucky this Lucio did not miss his boot. Sorry, this Lucio missed his boot, by the way, or that the hog didn't like cliff hook you, because both were an option here. Never mind, he was on cooldown, but like you get the idea, right? Like you're very far away when you hit the shatter, and so now it's like, how do you follow up on this, right? The only thing you can do is charge at this point, which I mean, like, is probably still the wrong play, but like I respect it. And again, right? If you pin, at minimum, try and stall, right? Because you'd be surprised at the situations you can live in, right? So once you hit this pin, right, jump back, shield, and try to like grab this mega, right? Slowly try to back on the corner, do whatever you need to, keep jumping, right, and just see if you can get back to the mega, and then or like get healing in that meantime. Because again, you have a full shield here. Are you gonna live? Probably not, but like you can make it harder.
This will heal you.
So quick thing by the way, I noticed you've been like you roll out a spawn and then go this way and you charge out. There's actually a rollout where you can, I believe, go across this. I'm not sure if this works if the railings are up, so you might have to fire strike the railing. But you can like cross this gap. I'm not sure if maybe you need to pin over this thing. I don't remember how it works, but you can land on this side if you want to get closer faster. There's also nothing wrong, by the way, with just like saving your pin, walking across here, and then pinning in right onto the point, which is where you actually want to be, right? I can test in a sec too. Alright, this is whatever. You're just swinging. So jump around. So one thing you do is you can jump around the corner and pin, right? This makes it harder for them to react. And also again, like especially when you knew there was a hog here, and like, yeah. It's a little bit like like tech, not tech, I guess, like details that you can do. Oh my god, the junk bombs killed everybody. Alright. So, while I load that, the lobby, any questions about any of that? Yeah, sure.
Now arriving at Lijiang Tower.
Justice will be done.
So charge is like one of the age-old questions that people are still like debating. But generally speaking, there are times when it's
Justice will be done.
there are times when it is good to charge, just because there's not anything that can punish you, and there's generally speaking also a lot of places that are good to charge because they're not very punishing. So I'll show you an example in a second. Let me see if I can just roll out. All right. My fire strike just more carefully. Okay, yeah, you can definitely cross this gap, and I think you might be able to go over the rocks as well. Okay, you can't go back. Cool. I've definitely seen someone like get to like this point and across like this. Not like that. Okay. But like there's, especially when you have a TP, right? The TP will put you like right here, right? And then you can just like walk over here and pin across. Right. It's super simple. But yeah, so like there are a lot of places that are good to pin because they're short, right? So I mean it's not risky. Like I literally figured this out in like 2 minutes, right? And uh like once you figure out what you're supposed to do, which is really just go over that rock right there, um, and then like go for this corner and don't go past it, right? Because if you go past here, you fall, right? It's super simple. Um, but like there's a lot of places that are good to charge because they're short or they're contained, right? So, for example, if there were to be like a big fight happening in this pagoda, right? Like if you're just in here, right? If you pin, not only are the walls very close to you, right? It's also very it's very like much a box, right? So if you hit the pin, if like you were to pin, right? Hitting someone is relatively high probability, right? Because there's only so many directions people can go, and there's a lot of there's a lot of stuff in here, right? There'll be a lot of people in here, right? And there's also good times to pin, right? Like when your team has big advantage, right? And you just need to get in there and start a fight, right? So if your team gets like a Widow gets like a kill or something, or like 2 kills, or like you say you've been trading here, right? You like hit a big fire strike, and then like your hog over here like lands a hook, and he clips someone, like maybe they're Rein or something. You can just like pin and get in there, right? Bit of an extreme example, because like you, again, crossing the bridge is very dangerous. But maybe this is not the best map. Hang on. Yeah, that's fair.
Now
But I
arriving
mean,
at
you know,
your
it happens
own
occasionally.
tower.
Let's see. I think of a good example here. Okay, so let's say you're hanging out here, right? And the enemy team like walks out and starts to rotate on coast, right? They start going this way, right? And you know they're going this way, so you like rush to point to meet them, right? So you start going this way, and as you see them coming out, this is a very high percentage pin, right? Right? Because and there's a couple reasons why this is good. One, it's a doorway, so they're very unlike. It's fairly probable they'll just walk into it, right, and you get a kill. Second is that the spot you want to be when they're going coast is right here, anyways, right? This is where you want to be. This is where you end up if you pin, right? So as a result, like it's a very low percentage, like relatively low danger pin, because it's like you mess up, right? You maybe eat more damage than you'd like, but you just hold your shield, get it here, and you're fine, right? And another thing is if like no one shows up at this door yet, and you don't want to actually go into it, right? You can just readjust the pin, and now you're here, right? And nothing changed, right? You just got here a little bit faster without a pin cooldown, which is kind of sucky, but you know. And then you can do your normal swinging thing, and then throw a fire strike around the corner, right? So this is obviously a very extreme example. This is probably one of the best pin spots in the game. That's another reason why like going coast sucks. But you know, you just gotta look for opportunities like this, either where it's a good time to, like your team, like again, where you just need to start a fight, and also when it's a good place to. If you can mix the two, you can you can add them together, right? Then it's almost always a good pin. That said, though, there's a big difference between a pin like this, uh, that hits, and a pin like this that misses. um, so like it's a bit of results-based thinking, but if you hit the pin, it was probably okay. Assuming like you get like you kill someone out of it and like you don't die immediately, right? So like if for example, the enemy team's on point and I'm here, right? And like I don't know how to start a fight, right? They've got like sim turrets all over the place and it's ugly and I don't know what to do, right? And I just pin in. If I hit like the Ana in the back and kill her, and then I run around here and just buy as much time as I can, it's probably a good pin, right? That said, this is very reliant on actually hitting the Ana and then not dying after, right? But do you see how that works? Right? Whoops. I keep pressing shift. So it's a bit of results oriented thinking. Um, but yeah. So Ryan, you just really want to start fights, right? So anything that starts a fight is good. Yeah, no problem. Any other questions? Pin is a bit of a complicated subject because it's like It's so high risk, high reward. Yeah. Overall, like it just be um like maybe when the game starts or something, just think about the map. Or maybe after the game when you're reflecting a bit, right? Just like think about the map and think about like the cover, right? Like I'm standing here pretty naturally, but like would you actually stand here if you were in this game, right? Like I don't know if you would, right? Like you'd probably just stand here, right? And maybe stand right here, like and just hold your shield, right? And look into the point. Like again, cover to cover, right? You gotta like spend as little time as possible not behind one of these things, right? If I'm walking out here, like trying to push out, right? I go here and then I push out, right? And then I'm here, right? Like, this kind of pathing is really important. And then yeah, and then like when you're being focused, put up your shield, right? 500 HP is not a lot. A 1600 HP that can't get a headshot is a lot, right? We all complain about how unkillable Ball is because he has like, you know, what, 1100 shield, 1100 HP or something crazy, right? Um, but like Rein has 1600, right? A lot. It doesn't get you out of bad situations where you're like surrounded and stuff, which is why pin can be high risk, right? But I mean, it's a billion HP. It's so hard to get through this. Yeah. Hope that was helpful. And yeah. So summary: cover to cover, movement, getting focused. Cover to cover, movement. Okay, there we go. Getting focused. Use shield, hold chokes by cover. Yeah. And yeah, don't forget, you help your team rotate with the shield, and then once that's done, that shield is for you. Um, keep. Gotta keep saying shit. Uh, yeah. So again, the shield's for you, right? If you needed to hold the corner, right? You swing, you eat an anti, right? You hold shield for a couple seconds, right? And then you go back to swinging, right? Then maybe someone tries to push you, right? You hold shield, right? Maybe someone gets behind you, you hold shield for a second, right? Maybe you look around the corner and get a fire strike, right? And maybe go for shatter, right? But again, almost everything Ryan does revolves around corners. So.